So that's in my report on page 22. We spent, well, we have 21,000 remaining, so less than $4,000.
So,
Exactly.
that's,
But-
aren't they gonna ask, well, you only spent 4,000 last year, you asked for 25,000 this year, I mean, and we did have a list of things we were.
No, I don't think that the budget request was these, as far as I know. I can't even, John, do you remember, I think the budget request basically went through Kristen, and that's what we were saying, so anyone, was it you?
We were in a
Yeah,
transition
I
period
remember,
last.
I do
Just
remember, yeah, and, yeah, so I think this is, right, this was about.
But was it as specific a list as this, which is really
No.
broken down?
There was a list.
And this is a plan.
No, there was, I do recall there being a list, yeah, and we, rationale, so there was about 4 or 5 things. Also, that original budget, when we hit the 25,000, whatever it was initially, was because we were doing branding, and there was a recognition the branding was going to cost a high amount, so, I mean, I'm fine if we think council's going to go ahead and say yes at 25, I just wonder what if they're reflecting on what we spent in the past year.
Well, one of the things we could comment about last year is the business summit kind of got bumped into this year. It may have been last year, and that would have been a $2,500, $3,000 one. Do you know what I mean?
Ooh, that's gonna come out of this year's then.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, because it might have been planned to be in October or something, the same as the year before,
Right.
But
but got
this-
shifted into.
That's
January.
gonna be,
It's in here.
It's in the current one, right?
well, this is just me.
Oh.
That's my Excel spreadsheet, so the
No,
real
the-
accounting program is
Look,
gonna
I
have.
think, let's, because the time is going, and we have, how much we're trying to reallocate to this, a huge amount of time. So let's, there's any harm in submitting it, and council can always knock us back. But I think we've got some good things in here, and I certainly think we could spend it if we really put our minds to it.
And I think the grant's a great idea, and that's totally new. That's totally different from any past budget.
Well, and
And,
so
yeah.
much of this is shifting to community economic development, which is like, it's a big initiative.
Yeah.
So it's different
So,
from
so
last
let's
year.
just recap the
Sorry,
okay.
I got two
Yeah.
more things. So this is the grant request form that the new CFO gave me 10 minutes before this meeting. I told him it's not grant request, budget request. Not in the same categories as us, he said we can tweak it, but
Could you pass that around?
I'll pass it around, there you go, please.
Okay, so staff, can I just recap the changes we're making here? So the business summit is, instead of 5,000 to 4,000, you put it 4,000. Engage local businesses, 2,000. Develop the plan for CED model, 4,000. Local economy summit without a date, probably in the fall, with just 4,000. Community economic development innovation grants, 5,000. Education courses, 2,000. That's a total of 25,000.
Let's see if it flies.
One other question, are we doing anything to continue with the branding effort, or is that now not part of EDC's mandate? No longer.
Should we talk about that when we get to the branding
subcommittees.
committee?
It's just that, I'm just thinking in terms of budget, we're going to do any
I don't think
further
there's any
branding
plan to spend any money
activity.
on that. And, you know, we can talk about this in a minute, but when we get to tourism, but tourism Bowen Island, you know, council thinks that's a lot to spend on community economic development. Wait till they get our request for the budget for next year. There's going to be a lot more, I think.
From tourism?
The Tourism Bowen Island wants to hire somebody a full-time staff person with the community economic development person. So they do both. They do community economic development and tourism Bowen Island. This was something we mentioned a few meetings ago, and you said it's not on the cards for this year. But I had a meeting with Catherine Lalonde this week, and she said, you know what,
Give it a try.
I can see how there's maybe a case for that, because there's no chamber on the island. And frankly, Tourism Bowen Island the committee is very tired. Murray's going to retire from the committee this year. There is definitely a need for some more energy, and I think if we could make a case for it, she said that she would be happy to support us making a good case for the next council.
Next, yeah.
So really, for $25,000 to spend on economic development, community economic development, that's not a huge amount for the council, so compared to what they might be asked for next year. When you were mayor. When you were mayor.
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
No,
So it-
that was politically incorrect to say. Yeah.
There's, I mean, just two things that come to mind too, and one is maybe we should be highlighting in this budget request the additions, the things that are new for this year that we've lined in.
I feel like we're overthinking this a little
Okay.
bit. I just talked to the CFO, he's
Yeah.
waiting for this, it's
Yeah.
an annual thing, we're all
Yeah.
like, sorry, I'm not being rude.
Okay, no, that's good. If we don't
It's
understand.
thoughtful,
then we
but I
should do that.
think-
Yeah.
The budget's going to be going through so quickly
Yeah.
that it's going to be global stuff that council will be paying
So
attention
we
to.
don't need to do anything to push it at all. I mean, you were there to help.
I don't think. we
I've
need
I've
to
got a
do
resolution here,
Yeah.
we should.
Okay.
Can I just, what is this? What is that? Sorry, I put it down.
Is that the
the-
second summit?
So,
CED, the
Yeah.
Community Economic Development?
Yeah, but why, what's the $5,000?
Is that the second?
That's the innovation grants.
That's the grants, thank you. Oh, so what about this? Community Economic Development Collaboration Grants.
Sounds
Let's
good.
just not
That's very
overthink
good.
it.
Is that
Yeah,
good?
let's not overthink it, let's just call it Community Economic Development Grants,
Oh,
period.
God. Listen, I'm sorry. That the Economic Development Committee formally requests.
Sorry, Sam.
It's okay. That the, formally request the following budget allocations.
Yeah, and we can go over those again if you like.
Let's do it again because it's funny. The Business Summit, 4,000.
4,000, 2,000 for the update community profile, 2,000 invite speakers, 2,000 engage local businesses, 4,000 develop plan, 4,000 local economy summit, 5,000 community economic development grants,
Collaboration grant.
education courses 2,000.
Mover,
Somebody want to move that?
For a total of,
A total of 25,000.
I'll move that.
Moved by Maureen, seconded by Michelle. Thanks, Barry.
all in favor?
Yeah.
I like this, this feels real.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cool.
good.
Draft annual report, 5 minutes at most.
There's my draft. So, I apologize for not giving it to you in enough time to read it. I put a date on for February 26th meeting. I just did that because it was within the workflow, but I don't think there's lots of time, as far as I know, to hack it up and
Do you want us to like take 5 minutes and read it and discuss, or is it, do we want to take it home and read it and email comments, or what? Read it now?
that'd be John's
Everybody
decision.
seems to be reading it now, so we'll just do that.
write this?
Steph did.
Yes.
It's very good.
It's very long, but I just wanted to make sure everything is captured.
Yeah, good job.
I won't interrupt your reading, but just the part that I would really like feedback on is the sort of ongoing initiatives and future plans. That's where that going through the list of action items might be helpful. Because I'm just sort of grabbing things that seem to stick out in minutes that were hanging there.
Well, I move that we approve that report. Oh, sorry, I don't do that. Someone else has to do it.
I want to leave room for some revision.
Yeah,
Let's do
Yeah.
maybe for next month. They
Okay, well, maybe
can final.
somebody can propose that we submit this for
In principle.
comment, and any comments to Stephanie, and we will approve it the next time.
Okay.
yeah, sounds good.
So we will-
Thank you, Steph. This is great.
Yeah, very
I'd
good.
like to-
Nicely done. I know it's
Just-
a lot of work.
A question regarding David Burley on his proposed business concept paper.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard of that.
Me too, what's that about?
Michelle, can you speak to that?
I can't really because I don't know who he is, but it just came out at one of the first business retention and expansion working group meetings that someone, either Ed or Cherie, suggested that we get in touch with him about this idea, but it never went anywhere from there.
So that's kind of why I've just sort of stuck that in, because it
Yeah.
seems like a really exciting idea. He was on the internet subcommittee,
Okay.
so we were still connected with him, and I just thought, just it's those kind of the little things that, do you guys want to pursue this? Would you?
He was going to
It-
start the food truck with Terry.
David, really?
Yes, he just came across that when the food truck,
Yeah.
and I think Maureen put a link in
Yeah.
to the undercurrent from 2014, but anyway.
I'm just
Then
nervous
take it
about
out.
having it in there. I mean, if it does get legs, great, but given that nobody at this table knows what the heck
Okay.
it is.
Sorry,
I
where is
think
that,
that's a
Maureen?
remnant from the last.
It's one of these,
The
like,
middle line of the first paragraph in that section, under the budget thing, yep, right there, first paragraph, there.
Yeah, there it
middle
is,
line.
okay.
Yeah.
So just that whole layout, okay. It seems so exciting. I would not want us to miss an opportunity there.
I think there may be a connection between Michael and David,
So it won't go away.
I know David well, like, too.
Oh.
So he'd be a great person.
Should I put an action item in some?
No.
No.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you very much.
So we'll email feedback.
Okay, and I can give up our deadline, and then we'll get a, not that I can be lording over about deadlines right now, but, and then to make sure I get a final draft for the next one. So why don't we say it's the 6th, so by March 9th. Is that okay? Or why don't we say can you do it in 1 week, just to make it more?
And can you just send us like that as a separate
Sure.
attachment?
So then, what's the date? So by February 23rd.
You send it as a Word doc instead of a PDF? Is that
Absolutely.
possible? Just then
Yeah.
it's easier to track changes and stuff.
Okay. Business summit, Boston postmortem. Do we need to spend?
So just the-
Okay. So
The invoice is there, it was only like $2,400.
Yeah,
I thought the food was fantastic. You guys all heard some feedback. I haven't been able to do that as well as
okay.
this month,
All
so
right, well,
I will capture the feedback this month.
yeah, and I did, one thought I had was that there was a lot of good comments. And it seems to me that just having an on-paper summary doesn't really do it justice. I got really good feedback from people I spoke to who said that they had a great evening, it was really valuable information. And so I think I would suggest that we ask council if we can, when we get this report, if we can actually go to council and appear in front of council and present the report, because I think particularly the issue of housing was obviously a huge thing. And I know that council's aware that housing is a huge thing, but not all the councillors were there. And I think it would be helpful to hear from us as being closer to the business community and sort of representing them to say, look, we heard this was, the 9/10 of the comments that were out there. There is, definite pressure from the business community to sort this issue out, and what are you doing about it? Is that appropriate? Kathy thought it was okay.
I think it's fine to come and make a presentation, and if you want to ask the question, and what are you doing about it, you will get a response, and that might be helpful.
Well, I think it would be good for us to then, we could take that response and say, look, we represented your concerns to the council, and here's the feedback, and then we can do an email to the list of people who attended saying,
Here's
this
what we
is,
did.
your words were heard. I think that would help.
Are you gonna, in the presentation, are you gonna focus exclusively or primarily on housing?
No, I think we would just present, look, this is what we did at the thing. We had a thing about business continuity, which is an
Right.
issue. We presented about the business licensing. We then had a session where we asked people what were their concerns, and these were the concerns they came out with. And it was tourism, there was housing, there was other, I can't remember the exact things, but just to represent it
To council?
to the council.
Yeah.
And, we could be in and out in 20 minutes, and then council can decide what they want to do with it.
Yeah. 20 minutes might be a bit much, but
Okay.
that'll get sorted out at the
Yeah.
agenda setting stage. Sorry, there was something I was going to say. It's just completely gone out of my head.
I can speak to process while you're finding your
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
So I put in an email, how that would look would be, you would receive the report, making revisions on the report, craft a resolution, and adopting the report, and recommending that it go to council, at which point I would talk to the corporate officer about making it part of the agenda, and then you'll receive the time.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing that was in and then went out of my head was that council will be particularly interested in hearing the feedback on the business licensing presentation, because that has been included in the strategic plan, and they'll want to hear from other people. I mean, who was there? I was there, Allison was there, Gary was there. So there were 3 of the 7 members of council who did attend.
Yeah.
But the others should hear, is that right?
But do we have feedback on that?
On business, well, there was a bit from the discussion. I mean, even just saying there was not widespread opposition
Okay.
to
Yeah.
business licensing is a useful thing to have said in a
Okay.
council meeting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I think we have a role to play in a way as a bridge between council and businesses. And one of the things I hear from businesses is that council members don't engage with them much. I mean, there was 3 councillors there, but some people say, well, we don't have any liaison with council, and I think maybe we can bridge that a little bit and maybe set up a meeting at some point for councillors to meet with businesses who want to be there to say, what are your concerns? How can, we'd like to just listen. I think it'd be good.
well, I think the role of liaising with business in part lies with this committee.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Yeah.
if we, I mean, in the past, there have been breakfast sessions, for example, that were held at the pub with the group that Glenn Cormier was involved with. Those kinds of things are relatively easy to organize, and they do help the business community feel as though they are being heard. And councillors do attend
Yeah.
those sessions. So, I mean, I think it's always really important to hear what the concern is behind the complaint and figure out how to respond to that. And I'm not quite sure what all of those concerns are at this point, but conversation will help.
Okay, cool. Good. Michelle?
I'm wondering about, I feel like another really important part of the business dinner was the last section. So there was like the educational component, there's the networking component, there's the being heard component, which I think all of those were successful and we did a good job. The organizers did a good job. But the other part that I really liked was at the end where we had the groups, breakout groups, and people sat and came up with some ideas about how to tackle some of the issues that are being faced by businesses, local businesses. So I'm wondering if there's a plan to go anywhere with that stuff, because
Well, I think that was.
Just, I
what would be
haven't had
part
a
of the
chance to
report.
get to it. It's all the
Okay.
Post-it notes and everything is under my desk. I just haven't.
it's not,
Had a
I'm
chance
not
to get there
at
yet.
all trying to put pressure on you. I'm just wondering what do we have in mind for
Yeah.
the process?
Okay.
Because I think, especially if we're trying to move towards the community economic development, integrating local ideas for solving local problems is CED. So,
Oh, yeah, I mean, I heard some great stuff about, for example, about housing. You know, one wasn't simply the zoning thing obviously is an issue, but it was that other people were saying, well, the approval process is way too slow, and if we could speed up the approval process, then we could do better. And so we can, all those ideas that we gather, I think that would all be in the report, and then we can present.
And I just had a thought, once we see the report and we see what those ideas are, because I
Yeah.
can't remember them off the top of my head, maybe that's a way that we can work with our new collaboration grants, because we could say, hey, these are some of the ideas that came up. Here's our new collaboration grant. We encourage people to come forward with ideas that address these things. Like that might be a way to kind of connect them and start to say, hey, we're going to put some money where our mouth is. You guys came up with some really neat ideas. Come up to us with a proposal and we want to support you to do it. So maybe that's a way of tying it and kind of creating some action.
Cool.
Does that
I was
sound
crying.
one way to do it?
yeah.
Yeah. But I think until we see the report, but I agree, like we should for sure have it as a, how do we keep this going and carry them forward?
Yeah.
And not just let it sit on a shelf and
Okay.
report.
So Steph, no pressure, but you think we can get the report for,
So
for the next meeting?
Yep, absolutely.
Cool, thank you very much.
So, before we leave this item, I looked at this invoice, the numbers are wrong, Steph.
They're not wrong. That's why there was a delay. I phoned them. Why?
Because the cost of this event was $4,255.
Oh, sorry.
You looked at the amount owing, not the amount of the event.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So there
That's
were
so
two down
embarrassing.
payments.
Yeah, I was gonna say feeding 60 people.
Oh, that's what we were
And
saying. I'm
drinks.
sorry, I just whipped the invoice in there. I also was distracted because it looks like we paid $600 for alcohol. And I phoned them. I'm like, what's this?
So-
Okay, we gotta go back to the,
Yep, so, I mean, it doesn't change, I don't think it changes the budget request that we had put together. Because
The
we
only-
were in the 4,000.
Yeah, we had put 4,000 for the business summit, which we were already over budget then, right? And then if we put 4,000 for the local economies summit, if it's going to be a similar type of event, we should probably bump it up to 4,500.
Well, that's probably true, but I think we don't wanna go over the 25,000.
Yeah, so if you
I
think there's enough of a buffer in
I
that.
think there's plenty of buffer.
Yeah, and just do it cheaper.
So,
so this was the
hang
whole.
on a second though, if we're really diving into this invoice, they've listed charges, like you said, for liquor and liquor service charges, but then they've credited
Right.
bar sales and, because they've accounted for the cash payments that people made. by
So the
those.
net cost is $2,700.
Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
what that says?
I think so.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that I didn't get a free drink, so I don't.
yeah,
So I don't
exactly.
know.
So unless
But
someone
they're
got
crediting
free
back
drinks.
I think they're
Yeah.
putting in the cost of the alcohol, maybe, and then crediting back what people paid for drinks, or something of that nature.
I
We need some clarification. clarification.
Yeah.
Well, I phoned them, I felt clear, but obviously I am not, so they,
So, no, we
This,
had
I had-
drinks, right?
no, so this $608,
Yeah.
they've refunded it down
Yeah.
here.
So-
It's hard to see because part of it's debit, part of it's credit, so they've divided it up. But they have credited us with that.
Yeah, so then, again, the net cost, I think, was 2,700 is what they're getting
Right, because there was a catering service cost, there
I just wanna see
was a
if I
service
can-
charge on catering, and there was a facilities rental.
Well, let's not.
Anyway.
let's not-
I'll just pop an email to my accounting team and they can tell me what's actually gone through there.
Okay.
And I said to the lovely gentleman, am I the only person who's had to call you about this? And he said, no, you're not the only one, so.
Right.
in. You took the creative accounting course. didn't you?
Yeah. Okay,
If,
What
if
number
that's
do
the
you want?
case, then that's terrific, in terms of cost.
That's what it looks like,
It looks to me like it's 3,500, because if you just add up the room rental, the catering,
Mhm.
catering gratuities and tax, it's 3,500.
Right, yeah.
Just ignore all the other stuff that's in there that's confusing.
Yeah.
What are the payments for, though, on the credits on the bottom?
There might have been a deposit, some of it might be the bar sales.
What was the,
So payment
Agreement
one's
on
got
the
the
bar
cash in it,
sales.
it was just a cash bar.
no, but who was supplying the liquor and
Them.
who got the difference between the cost and the, what
Them.
was?
What?
So none of the liquor stuff should be anything to do with us. It's
Mhm.
just on the
The
invoice.
profit.
It has nothing to do with us, that's why it was confusing, so then it's
Yeah.
gone and come off.
So if you just add up the room rental, the catering gratuities, and the tax, not including the liquor tax, it's 3,500.
Yeah. So
Okay.
can you, can
And we
we make
budgeted
a request
4,000.
of you? Yeah. If for some reason it's not 3,500 or less than 4,000, that we need to know and.
Okay,
who issues this? This is the law?
yeah,
Okay, well, I would ask them to give us a new invoice that takes the liquor out of that.
Yeah.
well, he sent me, okay, there's a lot of material, he sent me a supplementary. This is what he sent me.
Right.
The original bill was quite simple, and I was like, what is the $600 of liquor? So this is what he sent me as supplementary information.
Well, that's not
Don't know
very-
if I can get a lot more.
All we need to know is how much we pay.
Yeah, we want
I'll get
one
you
line
my
with how much
receipts from our
it is.
accounting system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, food trucks, Maureen, you had a fun week with this?
So I drafted a report, as requested, based on our last committee meeting. And I sent it to the committee for feedback prior to the meeting because it came together kind of late. And I also sent a copy to Murray Atherton asking for his feedback. Unfortunately, he took the report, the draft report, and sent it out to all of the restaurants in the Cove.
Did he actually send it to all of them, or did? Because we got responses from some of them.
It pretty much looks like all of them.
Yeah.
And it came out of the blue with no context, and they understandably slightly freaked
Mhm.
over that. So in the agenda package, there's a response from Julie Cree, from John Hayes, and Oitis, and Ellen McIntosh. And there also were some emails, rather unpleasant emails that went to the mayor. So this pushed a real button for the restaurant operators. And those who responded across the board expressed their concerns and their lack of support for our even having the conversation. So let me just find the message that, got a message from Oitis. And I can tell you who it went to.
Well, it's pretty, you have enough regardless that it's, I think it's pretty.
Robin McMillan, I don't know who that is. Lyman Pies, Sunny Shahal,
That's the,
Yeah, that's the
Rusty.
new owners of the new Rusty.
Joan Hayes, Guillaume Grill, Tuscany, Glenn
Barcelona.
Cormier, Frank Pat, Helen Reynolds, the Chocolate Shop,
Sure.
Alderwood Farm.
Yeah, instead of a hornet's nest,
That's who
so
it went
there-
to, Maureen? That's all the people it went to, or that's who's responded?
No, that's all the people that it went to, so there are 10 people who didn't
Yeah,
respond.
hold on.
And 1, 2, 3, 4 in our agenda package, and then the correspondence that went to the mayor. I think procedurally, it's really unfortunate
Yeah.
that it went out with no context. And the recommendation that, in response to the draft from Councillor Kale, was to add what you see in the draft report that's on table here, which is the recommendation is subject to EDC confirming initial interest on the part of Bowen Restaurants that council direct staff. So the intent to consult with restaurants was there. And
Was that on what Murray forwarded?
No.
and
no,
also it was not absolutely clear from what was sent out that our intention was never to invite people, food trucks from Vancouver to park outside the Mystique, that it was a clear priority for people on Bowen Island, existing businesses to consider this.
So did
as an
you,
option.
Maureen, not that it's your responsibility necessarily, but just because you're involved, did you respond to the restaurant owner saying that it was our priority to have them be asked if they wanted to have food trucks?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So all of these, all of the correspondence from the folks that are included here, I responded to. And essentially explained that. I received no response to that. So they sent their message, they received a response, and none of them acknowledged the response.
None of them acknowledged themselves.
Well, I wondered, presumably there's no point in taking it any further at this point.
I think council's got enough on its plate, without doing something that, it is a minority of the people that we sent this to, but these are loud voices, and they are not happy.
So I'm wondering, should we maybe do a letter to them saying, thanks for the feedback, we hear you, it's not our intention to invite food trucks from Vancouver, and, we're not taking it any further at stage?
Yeah, I think it would be useful to send something to them, and I think it should come from the chair of the
Okay.
committee, because I drafted the report, and my name was on it, but it was from the committee as a whole. In one of the responses, the responses are useful in that the comments that they make point to concerns that they have. So on page 33 of the report, we're yelled at, please talk to the business community. Surely supporting, not replacing local business should be your first priority. This working community has lots of great creative ideas and needs your support. So, there are a couple of things about that comment. One is that it's missing the point that these would have been auxiliary food trucks to existing local businesses. But then it also opens the door to a lot of the work that we're talking about wanting to do as part of our work plan this year. So a letter from the chair saying that part of our work plan this year is to engage local businesses and organizations regarding opportunities for collaboration. And if we get the okay to have the CED grants, then that's a good basis, going forward. I think we should let go of food trucks, but I don't think we should let go of this conversation. We certainly have got their attention, and we should see this as an opportunity.
To engage with them. It's unfortunate, obviously, we feel like we've insulted them, right?
Yeah,
That
we do.
we are dissing them, criticizing what they've done and what they've achieved. They're coming from very strong
Yeah.
goals.
Could we, just to throw out an idea, could we specifically offer, and not that I want to make any more work for us, but could we just have an opportunity to engage with them before the crazy summer season to say, hey, this was an idea we were floating, all the other stuff that we all just said. Could we have a breakfast meeting in March or April, whenever, we don't want to get into the facility season, because this was an idea, but you guys obviously have lots,
We'd like to hear from you.
We'd like to hear from you. We want to, as the EDC, we want to engage with you. Could we set up a breakfast meeting? And that just is a direct response to what they're saying. Okay, we have ideas, we all that.
Yeah.
Let's meet with them. Let's talk.
Okay.
Is that possible?
At Rustique?
Well, I think you can explore venues and just see,
Neutral.
who's
On a
suitable
Friday
for.
at 9:30?
Yeah, I haven't, like,
Yeah, so-
we've had breakfast meetings before, yeah, so.
First, the letter, I mean, the letter is obviously imperative and it needs to be very carefully crafted. And to go to everybody, not just those people who responded, but
Yeah.
everyone saying.
Well, I can draft the letter, and send it to everybody.
And I just hope it could include an invitation
And
to
then an
something.
invitation. that's
Yeah.
necessary.
Would it be,
Invite.
considering the crowd, would it be more neutral just to have them in here? Because it's not that many people we're talking about.
Well, it's probably 20 people, right? 20 people.
I think the breakfast idea is a bit more friendly.
Yeah, okay.
Should we be doing this in coordination with Tourism Rhode Island? I mean, is this part of the information that they also need to be hearing and responding to?
Might be less formal if we didn't include them and then just gave the information to them afterwards. Maybe it's less confrontational.
Should they be invited to participate, but they're not necessarily co-hosting it? Is that what we're differentiating?
I don't want to make a huge production of this. I mean,
Yeah.
they've given their feedback. We've heard of them. They got the wrong end of the stick. It was unfortunate that it was sent out without any context. They didn't even understand what they were being asked
Yeah.
about. And then they commented about something we didn't understand because we explained to them. I don't think we need to, eat too much humble pie. We're trying to do our best for them. If some of the replies that I read were just awful and quite out of order. If they'd said that to me in person, I would have told them exactly what I thought. That it's not on for businesses to criticize a group that is a volunteer group dedicated to helping businesses to criticize the people in such offensive ways. So that's on video. Some of them